The Last of Us that you're working on features so many Latinos in headlining places, but the show doesn't necessarily revolve around Latino culture or anything. What was your initial reaction to being able to work with a diverse cast and that it was a different kind of storytelling that we've seen?
Yeah, I think that is what we've been calling for a long time, which is universal stories told with our particular cultural perspective, but that don't hinge on it having to be necessarily isolated to just being a quote-unquote Latino story. I think that's what effective storytelling is, and powerful stories are ones that break borders and cross boundaries and bring everybody into the fold rather than segmenting us into different making us kind of sending us to our own table, which I think our show is a very great example of how it works. It works to put just the people who are equipped and have the requisite skills for the job, regardless of their background, regardless of their face or their shade or whatever the case may be. So, hopefully we continue to see more of it. We're seeing a lot of it. We see it in Andor. We see it in this. We see it in Ballerina, which I just saw with Anna and everyone in that film. So it's a pretty special time, and we just got to keep it rolling.
I want to ask you, are you guys nervous hosting tonight?
This is a loose cannon. I don't know what's going to happen. We have words written down. I'm not sure he's going to say them.
Also, I don't get nervous at all,
See?
so this is exciting.
I'm terrified. I don't know what's going to happen. Please pray for me. Yes.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait for you to see it.
I'm excited. What are you guys most excited about when it comes to Latino representation in the future?
God, I just hope that it's a vision of us in a better place than we are right now. A bright future, the one we deserve, the one we fought for.
And ideally, it's not something we're even talking about. So if it shouldn't be something we're even talking about. Yeah.
Right now, in here, everybody's happy. We're celebrating everything. But outside these doors, it's really dark out there for our community. How do you guys find the strength to keep being light, positive, beacons for our community? Where does that come from?
I mean, it's tough. It really is tough. Things are going well for a lot of people, and it's easy to be selfish. And it's easy, you see a lot of that. It's like, oh, I'm just going to take care of my own and my own family when there's so many people struggling. But when I look at all these people, and you look at any first generation Latino, I can't help but see my dad. I can't help but see my family members out there. And so my heart goes out to all of them all the time. We just all need to remind ourselves of where we came from and who made it possible to be where we are, and then try to give back to those people at the same phase of their life. And right now, those people are being villainized and chased down in the streets and ripped away from their families. And I got to start a T-shirt or do some campaign for the person to come back, because now we're saying, Save Mary, because the lady worked at a waffle place, but all right, that community was able to save her, but what about us? What about all the other people that are being ripped away with no due process? So, we all have to realize that we're being distracted from what's really happening and get our shit together.
Yeah, I mean, we're also thankful for nights like this and spaces like NHMC, because these are safe spaces that we're allowed to celebrate each other and be able to escape for a few minutes and not also minimize what we've done. I think it would not do us any service to just completely turn over and go, we're not going to have any joy, we're not going to celebrate each other, because I feel like that's what so many people want us to do. We're not going to get smaller, we're not going to minimize, we're going to get louder. There's going to be a lot of conversations in this room that I think that are going to amount to a lot of change and a lot of strategy, because that's what we need more than ever. But also looking around, you see such a diverse amount of Latinos, that's what we need to talk about, is unifying and not finding the little things that tear us apart that people are hoping that we fall for.
There are amazing, talented creators, media executives, directors, and everyone here is Latino. Not everybody, but most people here are Latino. So when you see all of us come together in a place like this, it reminds me of how many of us are doing great work, and a lot of times we get lost in the fray. So what I think the coalition does is it shines a light that there are so many of us here doing great storytelling, telling really funny comedic stories, making funny shows, making dramatic shows, but we're a part of the Hollywood community. And this is just, it's almost a reminder of that. It's inspiring. I don't know.
When I was growing up, there wasn't an organization that cared about our voice or our presence or our access. So particularly at this moment, when people would erase us from the history of art, culture, and science in this country, to have somebody who stands up for you and fights for you and brings people together both to celebrate and to think about the challenges that we face, it's important.
Absolutely. And then as creatives, how do you find the strength to be light and happy and continue your work when it feels like outside these doors there's so much pushback and discrimination in our community?
I think if you're creating and you're worried about being liked, you're starting from the wrong place. We're not worried about being liked. What we're worried about, well, not really worried about, but all that matters to us is that we're doing our jobs and we're doing it authentically. We're telling the stories that resonate with us. We're making the television shows and the films that we believe in. And we're not really worried about what people say about us. So honestly, we're in a pretty dark time with how Latinos are being treated in this country. But I think the only way through it is just to do what you do it proudly, tell your stories, make the funniest show on television. And that's genuinely the only way that we can cut through all the bullshit.
Our community is so beautiful, and we're so resilient. And I come across people everyday heroes who still cut our yards and clean our houses and are doctors and treat our people. And, nothing seems to get us down. In fact, we probably don't complain enough about the way this country is going. So, it makes it easy to tell stories about this country and our important role that we play in it.
And my last question for you guys is, what advice or hope do you have for the future of creators? What would you say to the young creators who are trying to be producers, writers, composers? What advice do you have to those young Latino creators?
I just spoke at a school in the Bronx, and all the students there had no idea a job like mine even existed. So that's what I would say to the young people out there. If there's anybody out there that doesn't work in Hollywood or doesn't even have a connection. I came out to this town, I didn't have some Nepo connection that got me the job I had. I just came out here and hustled. So there are careers out there for young, talented, creative storytellers, comedians, actors, directors. There is a community out here of people that look like you, that do what we do. So don't think that it's so far away, because it's not.
I think that's true. You don't know what you don't know, right? You can't be what you can't see. That's what my friend Eva Longoria always tells me. And I think, we don't ask for help. We don't seek mentorship. And there's lots of people, there's old people like me who want to help create opportunities. How do you unlock that vault of opportunity that exists? And there's so many people in this room that if you said, what's my next step? They try and help you figure it out. A lot of people in this room mentored me. Younger people than me mentored me. So I think a really important lesson to people who want to lead, who want to be something, is just ask people for help. They're going to be there for you.
That's incredible. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah. Last time we spoke, I told you that your art on Acapulco was one of my favorites, and this new season does not fail. It's also one of the best love stories on TV, if you ask me, because I'm obsessed with it. What do you think it is about your dynamic with Jessica Collins that makes it so impactful?
Jessica is by far the most generous actress I've ever worked with in my life. She makes it so easy, so easy. She's always down to play, down to have fun, and I just couldn't be more thankful to have such a wonderful scene partner. I feel very comfortable with her, and when you feel comfortable with your scene partner, well, you know, you're able to explore. Also, she's an amazing actress, so every time I'm on set with her, I'm like, okay, I got to step it up, boy. I got to step it up because, you know, the bar is high. So, yeah. She brings the best out of me.
Absolutely. Now, here at the, Media Coalition, it's so important to be in community with each other. Why is it important? Why do you think community matters so much when we're trying to make art?
Well, I think in order to make art, you need to collaborate. And in order to collaborate, you need to have a good community around you. Feels really good being here tonight, supported by this community and supporting this community. Just wish that, this sentiment keeps going on after tonight. Sometimes we forget what community is, and we start competing y empezamos a tirarnos piedras a nuestro propio tejado, y al fin y al cabo, we know who we are. We don't need anyone else defining what we are, who we are. We don't need to take on labels that were not established by us, but by the dominant culture in this country, unfortunately. So all I'll say is, sigamos juntos porque unidos somos más fuertes.
And, when it comes to the outside world, right now there's a lot of happiness because we're in this room, we're together, we're celebrating our cultures. But when you step out those doors, there's a lot of hate and discrimination towards our communities. How do you find the strength to keep making art and keep telling authentic stories when it feels like the world is pushing against us?
I think when the world is pushing against you, the best thing to do is entertain and make people laugh and just shine a light where there's darkness and where there's shadow. I also think people fear us because they don't know us. They fear, us or anybody. I feel like discrimination comes out of fear, and it comes out of lack of education. So I think that if you are out there entertaining, educating, and showing people that, that we're all human and we're all just fighting for love. So I think to me, entertaining is always like a light of hope and a light of happiness that should never be turned away or just shut down because of all the darkness that's around you. Yeah.
And my last question for you is, what message do you have for fans of Acapulco who have been with you for the last 4 years as you wrap up the final season?
The fourth and final season is the best season of Acapulco. I am shocked at the fact that the creators and showrunners of the show have been raising the bar every year. So get ready for season 4. And I also don't think it's the end of the world of Acapulco. I think in some way, shape, or form, the world will return. I don't know if the cast will be the same, but I know that this world is going to come back. So stay tuned.
I think it's got to be the creators casting, and they brought together a crew not only in front of the camera but behind the camera that was so representative of all the stuff that they were trying to tell. Like Dallas, Vanessa, Alicia, everyone here and everyone that's not here was so handpicked and so carefully picked, and they had that vision, and the crew that helped work on it, for all those years, really took us all the way. It was a train that wasn't stopping.
Yep. Yeah. And for me, it was just a perfect combination of the younger generation mixed with the generation from people who watched the Karate Kid back in the day. It was just a perfect mix, and we all gelled so well on the show. And like he said, it really takes a village at the end of the day. We wouldn't be here without the people behind the camera and the people in front. The creators put everybody together, and it was so amazing to work with such impactful people because everybody wanted to have the same goal, and that was to get the job done and get it out to the audience the best we did.
Absolutely. When you're when you're thinking about how dark the world is outside these doors, right now we're celebrating, we're having a great time. How do you find the strength as artists to keep going when it feels like there's so much discrimination and pushback against our communities?
Girl, we've been here before. It's always been like this. Yeah. So I kind of there's a bit of myself that reminds myself of this, of like, you know, we got to continue doing this. Like I
mean, I feel like at the end of the day, art warms people's hearts. And, you know, people who have struggled with so much pain in the world, I feel like we have this opportunity to kind of light their moods up and bring that joy back into them with the pleasure of television and sharing the screen with different people, and to bring this excitement so people not necessarily can get distracted by it, but more so just be elevated by it and be, you know, more encouraged to look past the darkness in the world and to see this light that we have.
Way better answer than my answer.
You guys will have great answers. So the National Hispanic Media Coalition, why is it important to support groups like this?
Dude, because it's really only us that's supporting it, right? Like, we're walking, like, this is, you know, we heard some of the stats earlier today, but it's like, this is the place to allow these voices to shine, and also I think there are great opportunities to, like, you know, continue that work, and continue that connection and continue that community is by coordinating events like this, having, you know, the cross-pollination of all the folk in this room. I think is, we might not see the impact right here at this moment, although there's a lot of great stuff happening, but you'll definitely see it, you know, in the weeks coming, in the months leading, you know. Why is it important, bro?
Let's see, why is it important? I mean, going out, you killed it with your hand? I mean, it's important to have community, and being here together, this shows exactly why we do this work, and who else is going to do it besides each other. So we need to keep pushing the initiative and keep getting the word out there and the word across, and that's how we're going to keep growing.
Well, it has been a joy to follow you guys for so many years. What would you say to fans what is your message to fans who are out there supporting you and who are so excited to see what you guys are going to do next?
We love you. Like, it's only because of the audience and because of the fans who have watched the show that we've been able to do this for 6 years. Like, I don't know another show that's going to get 6 years at this point, like, and right now. So it really is all due in part to the love for this legacy, and you know, we're ready to, I think, embark on some other journeys. But just know, Cobra Kai never dies.
I knew it was coming. Bro, I haven't heard that one in a minute. No, just thank you so much for all of your support. I mean, I got there whenever I was 14. I'm 18 years old now, and I mean, I just growing up on the show, the love, the fan base, it has really been so warm to me. Y'all welcomed me with open arms, and from the moment that I got there and then to the cast, they were so welcoming to me as well. So just thank you for riding with us at all times, you know, even when we had the break because of the pandemic or the break because of the writer's strike, you know, y'all stuck there by our sides and y'all waited patiently for the show to come out, and then your response from that was perfect. So I'm so grateful for all the love and all the feedback from the show.
What was it like to be on set and to work with such a great ensemble cast?
I mean, it's a dream. It's a dream to work with from our babies who this is their first job to the veterans. There's such a giant amount of talent, and everyone is growing, and I've gotten to see them grow from season 1 to season 4, and what they've done with their characters, and then how we've grown as a cast, but also as a family. You know, we were a family from season 1, but it's just grown and grown and grown, and it's so strong. And so to be here tonight and honoring the show for its authenticity and its authentic storytelling is the greatest honor, truly.
What is it about that storytelling that you think really resonates with audience? Why do you think they get so captivated by this show?
That's a great question. You know, I think someone told me if you want to be happy, surround yourself with Latinos. And I have to say, after 4 years of living in Mexico and working with Latinos, that's true. And you can feel it here. There is an energy that is infectious. And I think it's on the show, and I think people connect to that when they watch. And I think we need more of it in the world, really. I think we need more diversity. We definitely need more of this in all of the shows around the world, I think.
When you see the members of your cast and the community and just, kind of get pushed back because of the discrimination and things like that. How do you find the strength to keep going and keep making the art when it feels like people are trying to tell you to stop?
I mean, that applies to most of us, doesn't it? You have to keep going. You have to keep going, and we need events and organizations like this. We need people to be loud. We need people to write the stories, right? We need writers to write more stories with representation and diversity, and it starts with the stories. I think people will go see a good story no matter what, right? So we need to be including. There's so much talent that organizations like this introduce, right? And nurture, and so we need more support. We need to get loud, and we need to do it together, really.
Absolutely. And my last question for you is, do you have any message for your fans who followed you all 4 seasons? Do you have anything you want to say to them?
I have to say Acapulco fans are the most amazing fans, because every time I meet somebody, they're always happy and fun, or at least they are about the show, right? And they're the most fun, kind fans with the nicest things to say. I love them. I love them all. And I hope they don't go anywhere. I know the show's ending, but I hope they stick around and rewatch the show. And
to be brutally honest with you, it is very much like closing blinders in order to not get distracted from anything that wants to distract you. There's so many things nowadays that allows you to not really focus in depth about what your instinct tells you when it comes to creating, and that in itself you're already losing. So when you try to make something that is going to mean a lot for other people, you're already missing the point about what art really is. Art in itself is an internal monologue that's going in between your reasoning, your heart, and your spirit, and how you're able to create something like that. And then hopefully the interpretation that comes from that is not your business. It's for other people to interpret. So when it comes to creating right now in this world, it is, to me at least, the quieter things get, I have to make things quiet in order for me to create.
In the geek community, Umbrella Academy is a big, exciting thing for us because of the diverse cast, but just because of the storytelling in general. And it's so nice to see a cast that is together, and the story's not necessarily culturally sensitive or focused on, the cultures, but just storytelling and superheroes. What was it like to be part of such a great ensemble cast?
It was a dream. It changed my life. It was something that I never expected to be as successful as it was. It gave me the confidence to feel like an artist. It gave me the confidence to feel like I belonged in this space. And, when you get to work with the best writers in the world, a great showrunner, phenomenal actors, it sets the bar really high. And it makes you feel that, if I did this, then the next thing could also be with people from all these cultures and still be successful.
And then events like today with the Media Coalition, why is it important to you to be here and to, be at this event?
Well, I'd like to sort of pay my dues for anyone that sort of laid the groundwork for us Latinos in media to have a career. And in order for me to be here, they had to do a lot of work, and they had to be exiled a lot and had to figure out how to come back into the spotlight. And so this is just, in my own way, an ability to pay respects for that.
And my last question for you tonight is, what will you tell young Latinos, aspiring writers, producers, composers who want to, make art and are maybe a little bit scared of the pushback? Like, what advice do you have for them?
Whatever voice you hear that tells you that you shouldn't be doing it is not you. Someone put that inside of you a long time ago. And so figure out who did that and understand that it's not you. It's you that's listening to it, and you can choose.
And what is it like to be here in Celebration and with, the final season coming up?
Well, it's amazing to be a part of such an amazing community. I love being here. A lot of familiar faces. and it's a way to know each other and know and help to grow our projects, to share ideas, and to once again being proud of our heritage and celebrate what we've done and what we've achieved. And I'm very excited for Acapulco. Acapulco is coming soon.
I'm very sad about season 4 being the final season. I hope that it's not. What do you think it is about Acapulco that makes such an impact and that resonates so deeply with audiences?
Well, the story, the characters, they are so meaningful, and families watch it together. I think that's an accomplishment that it's not easy to achieve, and we are honored to have like this fourth opportunity, the fourth chance to reach more homes and more people all around the world. So I think it's a blessing to have this space. Like Acapulco has been like my biggest thing, you know.
It's my favorite show. I think it's great. How do you find the strength to keep doing what you're doing when it feels like society is pushing so negatively and so hard against our communities? How do you find the strength to keep it light and happy and keep going?
Well, first I am surrounded by positive people. Of course, sometimes like the world pressures you, but if we I tend to try to be more patient and just believe and trust that there's a voice within me that deserves to be heard. And so I just like take my time and try to collaborate actively to really push our projects. So anytime there's a good project that portrays Latinos the way we are, of course I'm the first one auditioning.
What do you have a message for fans as you wrap up the final season?
Oh my God! Thank you to be part of this journey. Thank you for share time with us to gather all together to watch Acapulco and laugh with us. That's amazing.
So Acapulco is one of my favorite shows. It literally, I think, is the best show on television right now. It's wholesome and wonderful. What is it that you think that really resonates with audiences?
You know, and I think it is that there's a lot of hope in the show, Monica, and it's the kind of show where it's a large tent. There's so many different characters in the Latino community that other Latinos can identify with, but there's also a universality in those characters because we're talking about people falling in love, enemies, work battles, mom being a pain in my butt. So all of those big ideas are in this show, and so when people tune in, they may not have lived in Acapulco in the 80s, but they're able to resonate with that. And we're finding that in like many countries. It's over 100 countries have been falling in love with the same show as you and I love.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that is so wonderful is that you don't really have a villain per se. People have their own motivations and things, but there's not like a villain per se. How do you balance finding some drama, some kind of climax, but keeping it wholesome?
Yeah, well, it's a great point. Actually, one of our writer's assistants, Gonzalo Lomelli, who's our script coordinator, Gonzalo Lomelli, he really helped us. We were looking at the character of Alejandro Vera, and you know, we didn't want him to be just a villain, and neither did Jaime Camil. And Gonzalo said, well, the truth is, if you're a Mexican businessman in Acapulco in the 80s, you have to be shrewd because nobody's letting you in that door. And so we suddenly realized, hey, this guy's not a villain. He's surviving by any means necessary. And that's just one example of how you can dimensionalize a character who would otherwise maybe come off like a one-dimensional villainous character.
One of the things that I found the most interesting was the dynamic between Dulce and young Maximo last season. I thought it was fantastic the way that the season ended. So clever, so smart, and like you said, full of hope. What was it like seeing them interact on set?
The dynamic between Dulce and Maximo was really center to the show. We wanted to come up with some way that there's a new person working there, and we were trying to think of what is the funniest way to build familiar relationship and an unexpected sort of adversary. And so the idea came pretty quickly that what if it was Memo's sister, and we've heard about these sisters, and you'd think she'd be like, hi, how are you? And then Karen Rodriguez came in and played this incredible character who was able to switch on a dime and sort of be like, I'm gonna get you, And she did an amazing job with it. And in a way, she also is not a total villain because she's trying, this is the first time she's gotten an opportunity to stop taking care of all of her sister's kids and be the woman. And she's like, I'm going to the top. I'm not waiting around for some guy to give me permission. And Maximo is terrified because he's like Mr. Nice Guy and he does not know how to fight with her. Yeah.
So I guess my last question for you is, what would you say to fans who have been with you to day one, who are sad to see you all go? Do you have any message for the fans?
Well, I want to say we leave nothing on the sidelines. The final season is just filled with more of what they love, but a lot of twists, a lot of big explosions. And what we really wanted to do is end the series in a way that honored everyone's commitment of being there 4 years. We're building to a lot of things and finding clever ways to pay off those stories. And, you may not have seen The Last of Us. We're constantly thinking of ways to expand this universe. And we've had preliminary discussions with Apple, but that's a process, and we'll see how it goes. But we left it all out there, and we hope they love it as much as we do. It's really a love song to all of our Acapulco fans.
This is the opposition of the darkness. This is light. Recognizing each other, being together, uplifting each other, speaking to one another, and celebrating each other is light. And that's what we need to do in the darkness. Because if we all go into darkness, we die. So yeah, feels good.
What is it about the National Hispanic Media Coalition that is important to you and that you want to support?
Well, I have been a supporter of the NHMC Coalition and Brenda and all the team for years. I really believe in this organization. I think they are so intentional about what they do. They are impactful. They are resilient. They don't quit. They don't go down easily. When someone's trying to oppose them, I just respect that. And they are so good about celebrating our community here in Hollywood and in the entertainment industry. So I think they do a great job of it, and I'm here for it. And I'm part of the Alliance Council, and I just love what Brenda's doing.
As a member of the Alliance, what would you say to young producers, actors, writers, composers who are out there, trying to create in this kind of environment that pushes back against our communities? What would you say to them? What advice do you have for them?
I would say, and I've talked about this quite a bit, I think we need to stop writing negative stereotypes about our community, beginning with us, because if they see us doing it, they're doing it, and they're perpetrating a message that is wrong about who we are and wrong about our community. So I would say to writers and producers and directors and music people to really amplify how wonderful our community is and what loving people we are, what hardworking people we are. And we are builders. We don't tear down, we build. And we've been here for a long time building. So that's what I would say.
As a producer, how do you shape the narratives to tell authentic storytelling?
Well, as a producer, I really try to fight to make sure that we are still telling our own stories. I think that it's still a struggle to do that, and I think that we have to stand strong and say we're the best ones to do this and come together and support one another when we do have stuff that's out there.
And then how do you find the strength to keep making art when it feels like the news and everything is so sad and there's so much discrimination and hate against our communities? Where do you find the strength and the motivation to keep going?
Oh, I think my why is my family. I mean, my parents came here from Cuba with a suitcase and a dream for their child to be able to speak freely. So it is my duty to speak freely. It is my duty to tell the stories of my community. I take it on with great honor and with great gratitude, and it's something I will continue to do till I'm not here anymore.
As an Alliance member, why is it important to be part of these communities?
I think that we just need to be in community. We need to share our struggles and share our joys. Tonight is about sharing wins. Tonight is about celebrating. And that's, I think a lot of times people get really caught up in the darkness and how heavy it is. We also have to sit in community of joy.
You're absolutely right. And if you had to say something to the aspiring artists, producers, people out there in our community, what would you say to them about making art and making it authentic, and what advice do you have for them?
I think building community at your level, right? So if you are brand new, find other like-minded artists that are brand new. I couldn't afford class when I started out, so I could go to the library, I could get plays and books from the library, books about writing, books about directing, books about producing. I could invite my friends over and make them a little arroz con pollo, and we could sit and read a play together and talk about it. I could write plays, have my friends come and read them. We could share ideas. All of that does not require money. It just requires you to do a little behind-the-scenes work. So I think in times like this, where there's a lot of struggle, it's harder to get stuff made, things are getting canceled, look to community, build your own community, and if you build it, they will come.
Oh, I think you're just telling a really authentic story about normal people. You're not making stereotypical characters, Unfortunately, in America, every line character can be a dreamer, or it has to be like the cleaner, or not that those things are bad, but like we have people at home that are lawyers, are doctors and stuff like that. So for example, my character on the show, she's a fashion designer. She has aspirations to be the next big thing. So I don't know, I think the show just has love stories, it has drama, it has family. I think it also motivates people to make their dreams come true. And it also motivates people to have a margarita by the beach. So who doesn't want to see that? Yeah.
And making it more difficult for us to exist. How do you find the strength and motivation to keep going?
It's funny you asked that, because I've been thinking about it this week specifically. And I think the answer is, I think I have a higher calling. Like, God has placed this gift in my life, so I can't really give you a cliche answer like go for your dreams, because I don't want to tell you what everybody tells you. But for me specifically, like, acting came to my life at a very random moment, like when I was 15, and God just places opportunities like in front of me. So it's not that I'm not worried. I'm obviously worried not only for my career, but like all of us, like our community. But for me specifically, I think all I can do is do good work, show up, book my auditions, do my job as an actress, and set an example for girls that look like me to be like, okay, I'm self-made. Like, I didn't have any connection. So I just think it's to believe in God, whatever your God is. I think if you have a higher calling, just trust that. And there's no timeline for when you need to, reach a certain level of success. I think as long as you're acting and you're getting paid for it, I think you should just keep going. And whenever you get to be in those rooms, to like mention your friends, mention your people, and keep creating and creating more opportunities for everybody else.
Absolutely. And I feel like events like this are such a great space for a community and to celebrate each other. What has the National Hispanic Media Coalition meant for you and being here?
I remember the first time I got invited, I was like, what? They know who I am? I was very honored, because we need to celebrate each other. Sometimes we're not being seen, and when you're not being seen, I've said this before, that means we're not being acknowledged. And I love that we can do this in Hollywood with the biggest names in their industry. So I feel honored to be here, that our show is being honored, and that this is my second time, I believe, that I'm here. So I'm very grateful.
And my last question for you is, you were so fantastic all the seasons. As you wrap up and you say goodbye to Acapulco, what do you want to say to fans who have followed since season 1 and maybe even fans who will find you on streaming later?
Oh, I love you all. Is that the camera? I love you all. Thank you for growing with us. I know this is a show that was pretty much word of mouth, so we have 4 seasons because of all of you. Thank you for supporting us, from telling all your friends, your family members, and for all the love. We're very lucky, and you guys helped our dreams come true, so thank you so much.